Cruise news time, and well, it's happening again. It's happening again. Yeah, some cruisers just got the worst news ever. And there's an interesting story out there about a cruise guest who feels intimidated by their main dining room server. I tell you what, somebody comes at you with a pepper mill, you're like, back off. No, it's not a pepper mill story. It's something even more bizarre. Yeah, a cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loga. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views. Boo! For your face on a Thursday the 31st of October. And yeah, that means it's Halloween. HALLOWEEN spells Halloween. Trick or treat. I came home from the gym this morning and I feel like we got 45 pounds of candy in our house. Jenny B's got a big old plan tonight to sit out front with her good friend, and they're gonna hand out candy to the children. It's a lot of candy. I tell you, it's a lot of candy. Hopefully it all works out, but apparently we're in the hot spot for people showing up for candy. We'll see. We can't have all this candy at our house. They got to give it all away. Okay, I will stop obsessing about Halloween candy. What's your favorite Halloween candy? I'm a big fan of Smarties. I also like candy corn. I know not everybody. Where are you guys at on candy corn? What's the favorite thing to get? Did you ever like get an apple? We threw all the apples away. Razor blades. That's what we were afraid of in the 70s. Okay, again, stop obsessing about Halloween, Tony, and get to the cruise news. Cruise news story number one. Like I said, one of the worst possible the things that could happen to a cruiser, especially cruisers that are getting ready to cruise. You open up your old email and you expect you're going to get like cat pictures from your cousin or something like that. No, you've got a cancellation notice from your cruise company. And this is kind of a high profile cancellation. This cancellation is happening on the Regal Princess for its second sailing from Galveston, Texas. Now, this cruise was scheduled to leave on November the 3rd, and it's not going to leave because they're experiencing technical difficulties that are being attended to, that are being worked on. The same technical difficulties that caused the cancellation of the October 27th cruise, which would have been the first cruise on Regal Princess out of Galveston since it made its transatlantic voyage over from Europe to the Lone Star State. Now, you may remember earlier in the week, all the hubbub that happened because of that first cancellation. There were guests upset that they didn't feel like they got enough notice of that cancellation. And then even more upset, adding insult to injury. I think that's a thing that the kids say. Adding insult to injury, that the compensation seemed not great to the people that got canceled. They got a 100% refund and a 25% future cruise credit. And they also got a couple $100 toward travel change fees. And a lot of folks felt like that wasn't enough. I asked the question in the video when I talked about that first cancellation. People said, yeah, it's not enough. Should have got a 100% future cruise credit. Should pay for everything, all the flights, all that stuff. Here we are. We have the same scenario today. This cruise scheduled to be on November the 3rd. The cancellation went out, I think, day before yesterday. So the cancellation window is bigger, but the compensation essentially remains the same. 100% refund of the cruise fare, 25% future cruise credit. Something's broken on that cruise ship. I think that's the big takeaway. And they're over there turning the wrenches, and apparently they're not going to get the thing done by this November the 3rd sailing. So hopefully whatever that gives them, I don't know if that was just a 7-day sailing. Hopefully by the 10th of November or whenever the next sailing is, they'll get it all repaired. Maybe they need some duct tape. What's that tape that you can tape a boat up with? Flex tape? Flex seal? So maybe should we ship them some of that down there? Were you on the November 3rd sailing of the Regal Princess? Did you get cancellated? How you feeling on this Halloween? We commiserate with you. Cruising story number 2, the latest, newest, greatest Disney cruise ship, the Disney Treasure. The Disney Treasure has just left Eemshaven in the Netherlands for its transatlantic journey over to PC, y'all. Port Canaveral to start doing North American sailings. It's a 14-day voyage. They're gonna stop in Portugal. This ship will hold 4,000 passengers. Daisy Duck, Pluto, Goofy, Chip and Dale, all the Disney stuff. It will soon be the premier cruise ship for Disney over there in Port Canaveral. The Disney Treasure is scheduled to arrive in Port Canaveral on November the 12th, 2024. And while I'm tempted to drive across the state and spot that ship, I'll be gone. I'll be in California. California dreaming. Man, excitingly, I got a really busy next couple weeks. I leave tomorrow night to go to Fort Lauderdale to get on the MS Eurodam on Saturday. Then I'll return here Wednesday, and then the following Friday, I'll get on an aeroplane and fly out to California for a week on the NCL Bliss. I won't be able to go to Port Canaveral to see the treasure. Are you set to sail on the treasure? Are you excited? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 3. Norwegian Cruise Line is celebrating a 52-week high for its stock. This is a good story about the recovery of cruising. Recently, the NCL stock reached the price of $25.25, which is the highest number that it's had in the last 52 weeks. It caused me to do some research. Now, Royal also hit a record. I'm going to show you that, but let me pull up this chart right here and we will talk about the stocks. This is what the cruise stocks look like so far this year. And what's exciting, as you can see, they are trending upward. And just today, Royal Caribbean has hit their new high for the 52 weeks. Actually, their new high for their existence, $207.62. This is the last 52 weeks. Now, if we switch charts and we look at the lifetime performance of these cruise stocks, you'll see that, of course, that high number that Royal Caribbean is experiencing today is the high number of all time. But Norwegian Cruise Line and Carnival both had higher numbers than their high this year over the last 52 weeks. Prior to the shutdown, you had Carnival hitting in the mid to high 60s, I think $67, $68, and you had Norwegian capping out with a high of $58. So Norwegian and Carnival still has some ways to go to recover to their highest points ever, but man, Royal Caribbean blazing a trail. Cruise news story number 4, pretty interesting. There's a conversation going on in Bar Harbor, Maine about cruise passenger limits. And while you may be saying, Tony, that's not a new story. We've been talking about that forever. That's true. That's true. On election day back in 2022, the town of Bar Harbor voted on whether or not to put a maximum cap of cruise passengers at 1,000 cruisers per day in Bar Harbor. And the voters on election day back in 2022 voted yes. Let's cap them cruisers at 1,000. 1K cruisers is the max. Well, they have a new initiative on the 2024 ballot for election day, and they want to increase the number of passengers from 1,000 per day to 3,200 passengers a day. So that's interesting. The cap used to be somewhere around 5,500, but now that they've had this cap in place for a couple years, there's people in Bar Harbor going, we're missing out on some revenue. We need some more tourists in. Can we raise the cap up to 3,200? And it seems like people are agreeable to it. Bar Harbor was one of the early places that really started to talk about limiting cruisers. And I'm for the sovereignty of the people. If everybody doesn't want cruisers to come, fine. But it does seem like there's a mismatch in the will of the people here in Bar Harbor, because a lot of people are saying, okay, maybe more than 1,000 would be. I guess they're still trying to find the sweet spot, but it will be interesting to see if a new resolution is passed that will increase the number of cruisers that are allowed in Bar Harbor on a daily basis. After just a couple years ago, they voted to decrease it. So I guess the dance continues. Whew, there's a lot of cruise news, and I haven't even got to tell you about this intimidated cruise passenger. I do have 2 more stories, and that's one of them. I'm gonna tell you all about it, but first, let me quickly invite you to subscribe if you like staying up to date with everything going on in Kaboo, that's a Halloween cruising. Please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. I was just thinking about the term jump scare, which is when something does like that and then you jump. But wouldn't it be funny, like, if it was not that, if it was like somebody jumped on you and scared you? I know certainly at my size, if I jumped on somebody, that would be scary. Okay. Let's talk real quickly about Royal Caribbean. They're cacawing about their latest earnings. They're really kicking butt when it comes to their revenue and the amount of money that they're making. But what's wild and what is being revealed is that all of that growth is not necessarily because of how cool their cruise ships are. Everything's not all about the onboard ship experience. Royal Caribbean is growing by leaps and bounds in large part to the investment that they've made in private islands. I think it would be hard to argue that the Perfect Day at Coco Cay is not now the shining example for what cruise companies should do when it comes to private islands. And really the only reason I shared this story is because when I was on the Sun Princess, I took the time out to film where the new Royal Beach Club's going to be in Nassau, and I've just been looking for a place to shoehorn that footage in. Look, Royal did it, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and they've come out and said this is one of the reasons why they're earning more money. They're also going to do it for the Nassau Beach Club. That's this footage right here. It doesn't look very wide to me, but they've cleared the land off. This is where the Royal Beach Club's going to go, try to cross from the pier in Nassau. And then, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, they've also bought land down in Costa Maya to have a Perfect Day Mexico. I don't know. I don't love that type of cruising, but I'm not really a beach person. So it's not motivating me like the beach clubs and the Perfect Day. It's not a big motivator to me, but I guess it's a big enough motivator to a lot of people that this makes like a good strategy for the cruise line. Let me leave you with that question. Do you like the beach club strategy? Are you all about it? Or do you like some other type of destination cruising? Leave a comment below. Okay, now I've saved the juicy story for the end. I've been putting the juice up front. And today the upfront stories were slightly juicy, but I wanted to save really juicy till the end. Oh, here's the juice. There's a customer that's cruising on Carnival Cruise Line. They're in the main dining room having their dinner. They're eating their shrimp cocktail. They're eating their Caesar salad. And then at some point, the server that's serving them comes over to the table and the person realizes that the server has, you ready? Visible tattoos. They got body art. They got the ink, and they were aghast. They used the word intimidated, and they want to know, what the heck, Carnival? What is your policy about visible tattoos? Old people, all old people in America are afraid of tattoos. That's essentially it. Let me read the quote so I don't get it wrong. This is the message. I'm curious about tattoos in Carnival's employee rule book. They got a rule book. I was surprised that there seemed to be none. Many of the crew, including our head waiter and even blank, 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 was covered in tattoos. I wonder who the blank, blank, blank was. Is Carnival allowing their crew people to have tattoos that are still visible? People in America are having tattoos removed before applying for jobs because most employers do not want their employees having them. That's a statement right there. Does anybody, maybe you know, I don't know anybody who's ever had a tattoo removed so they could get a job in America. They continue on. They are intimidating to older people, which many of Carnival Cruise Line's customers are. What is your view on this, John Heald? Now, certainly, I am okay with people saying I don't like to see visible tattoos. We all have opinions, right? And the world is changing. My son got a tattoo. One of my adult children got a tattoo right here. He loved it. He sent me a picture, and I am old enough now, I guess, like I'm my dad and my grandfather. I went, are you going to be able to get a job with that tattoo? Because that's the way we were raised, right? And he was like, hey man, old man, hey old man. He didn't say old man, my son's very respectful, but he did give me the gentle love, like the world is a different place. You know, the tattoos are fairly acceptable in the workplace now. I understand the complaint of this person, but some of these complaints get pretty extreme. Like, people are getting tattoos removed to get jobs in America. I don't think that's true. And I guess since we're talking tattoos, it is confession time. I've got something to show you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have anything to show you. The confession that I have to make is there's a new season of Ink Master out, which is one of my favorite shows. I like watching people do the tattoos and the creativity with it. And I made the worst mistake. I started watching it before all of the episodes were out. So I don't know how many episodes are in the season. But yesterday when we finished watching episode 4, Jenny was like, are we going to watch the next one? And I'm like, no, we have to wait for a week. And if looks could kill, Holy, I hate that too. I hate that too. Carnival, for their part, said we allow tattoos as long as they're not offensive, right? So as long as they don't depict something that's offensive, you know, they can be visible. Is that subjective? Who decides what's offensive and not offensive? Because the person that posted this got dang freaked out by some tattoos by the head waiter. The Caesar salad came in and was like, oh, there's a fish on your arm. Ah, yeah, I don't know. I like the pepper mill. That's what they should do. I think anybody that uses a pepper mill should get a pepper mill on their arm. So it's like double. What do you think? Crazy. Happy Halloween. That's what they should have said. It's my Halloween costume. I'm dressed up as two Halloween costumes, a freaked out passenger and a tattooed server. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing pretty good. I'm having a pretty good Thursday. Thank you guys so much for checking in. Yeah, like button. That'd be good. Hit the like button on the way out. This is Tony for La Lido Look. Until next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.
Cruise news, cruise news, cruise news, it's over.